You don't know who this is, Pete?
My name's Patty.
Dart Adams.
I've seen you before.
God damn it, you have. Young niggas, man.
Patty, what's up?
God, that's off, dog.
This is CWTFB Radio.
Yeah.
I know Charlie Machine alongside my right hand man, Cash No Motherfucking Sense.
Pray for the parlay.
Mr. Pray for the parlay, man. We'll choose what the future brings. That's black culture through music, man. This is episode 208.
208, man.
We in the Garage Media Center.
208. That's the letter 0.
What?
That's the letter O. 208 is 2, and the letter O and 8 is 208. You know what I mean? I mean, we being literal.
Man. All right.
You know?
Whatever. We're 208.
There we go.
Right? And we in the garage at the Sound Lab. Man, shout out to the Sound Lab. Make some noise to the Sound Lab. Come on. Like my man Cash like to say.
We're create, goddammit. That's my. Oh, thank you for letting me say that. You typically take my shit, but thank you. This is where creators create. This is the spot.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We in here, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. There's a lot of love in the building, man. We having a lot of fun tonight, man.
Every Thursday and every other day.
It's Chiz and Cash, man. You niggas know you need some cash, man. Shout out to all our subscribers, man. If you're on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notifications, man. Shout out to everybody who's listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, things of that nature, man. All of our supporters. If it wasn't for y'all, man, there would be no us,
I like
man.
y'all haters, man.
What you want the haters to do now?
No, today?
No,
today's fine.
Today's fine.
It's
All
fine. Go ahead and live your life today, gang.
All right.
You know what I mean? I don't want my haters to disappear.
Why?
Like, niggas want my hate. I seen somebody tweet like, "Yo, if you owe me money, I just want you to die." Like, you know what I mean?
Nah, that's crazy.
That was last days.
That would be last days.
And I just thought to myself, I understand what he meant, but like, I don't really want my haters to die. Cause I check on my haters.
Because if they die, how you gonna get that money back?
You know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
but if they ain't never gonna pay you back, they might as well die, right? I think that's what he was trying to say, right?
Maybe. He said even if you owe me $50.
$50 is crazy.
And I know last days means it. That's why I retweeted back praying hands. Yeah.
I gotta think back if I owe last days any money, nigga.
Nah.
It might be like a Fonto pack or some shit. Nigga, like, yo,
I paid days in full, man. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But nah, that be life in, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But nah, man, how was your last 7 days?
I don't know, man. It's been just a roll through.
You don't know?
Yeah, days are days, man. What are days?
No, nothing that happened within the last 7 days you want to talk about.
Anything dramatic? Oh, your man Big T won NH.
Oh yeah, nobody saw that coming.
What you mean?
Shout out my man Big T, man. Trump 2024, nigga. I don't got no sign for it, but 2-4, you know what I'm saying? All of that, nigga. Big T. Free my man Big T, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Free.
But you know what I mean, nigga.
They
don't want him. They don't want him to be where he need to be right now.
Nah,
you know
he free. He free.
You know, but no bullshit. I forget who I was talking to earlier. I was talking to my man, and he told me some real life shit. He said, "Yo, look." He said the fucked up thing about us being fed up with Biden's old ass and just seeing how old and deteriorated he is right now is this should have been the end of Trump's 8-year run. Now we about to enter an older Trump, my nigga.
Now
like,
it's going.
You know what I mean? If he win, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
No.
Hold on, we gonna get back there. We gonna get back there.
No.
But if we talking about age, dog's getting up there. He's getting up there in age. You know what I'm saying? That's all he was saying. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know, you got a point there. You know what I mean? When you talking about old white people and, you know,
both
being
able
and shit like that.
First
you know
of
what I'm saying?
all, with Biden, you need a new candidate, period.
Okay.
Trump, fuck him for life, forever.
Wow.
Bullets, I don't care what we need. No.
Wow.
Because if you are white supremacist,
Dar Adams, ladies and
or
gentlemen.
if you're a Nazi sympathizer, you
Okay.
got to go. And he's all of that. So no, absolutely not. I don't even play with that shit. But anyways, what were y'all saying?
So now we know how Dar Adams feels about Donald Trump, but you know what I mean? Shall we
that's the way
continue?
I felt about Donald Trump since like 2000 something. So
So this is
that's not
before
new.
his candidate.
Oh, absolutely.
His presidential
It was
run.
very aware that he was aligned with white supremacists early. I mean, if you go back to what he was doing with the guys who were accused of,
Central Park.
the Central Park Five, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
the exonerated five, as we now
The
call them.
exonerated fight, yeah.
He was very clear about his
Yeah.
intentions and how he felt. And he always aligned himself. His father was in the Ku Klux Klan. All of these things mean we don't fuck with you. We should not fuck with you. Black people should never align themselves with anybody who is a white supremacist or a Nazi sympathizer. That's a non-starter. It's no off rip. I don't play with any of that shit,
Right.
especially being a journalist, especially being a black person who has family members who grew up and lived in the South before the Great Migration. They came to Boston, New Jersey, New York, what have you. So when it comes to Trump, I do not fuck with that guy. I don't fuck with anybody who fucks with him.
Damn.
I don't fuck with anybody who holds him up in any regard. If you're a rapper, if you're an MC, if you're anybody in any space of black culture that said anything positive about Donald Trump, fuck your life.
Wow.
That's just how it is.
So fuck my life.
You should never, ever, 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 ever play
That's what that
with.
nigga say.
You should
That fuck
never,
your life,
ever,
man.
ever, ever play with
All right, let's get back to that.
anybody.
Let's get back to that
on that
because
level.
I want to have a good conversation about that. That's great. I'm glad that I know where you stand on that now. Let's go back to that, man. But let's speed through these fucking ratings.
Yeah,
nigga.
let's do
I
it.
wanna
I
get
told
through
you,
these
I
ratings,
told you,
all right?
nigga. I told
All right.
niggas. Ask
Okay.
me about current events, my 7 days.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah,
my
yeah.
7 days.
Fuck your 7 days.
Yeah,
Fuck my 7
yeah.
days. Everybody's
your
good.
7 days.
Everybody's alive. It don't even matter. You know
Let's
where the fuck
roll.
we at. CWTFB Radio. All right, so Red Cups and ratings. This week, man, we have 2 projects that we going to rate just like every other motherfucking week, man. This first one, we're going to start off with somebody that we actually rated before, man, but the last time we rated him, he did a joint project with somebody else that we know. I'm talking about my man Fuego Velli. Shout out Fuego Velli. He dropped Phoenix. This is 11 tracks long, about 29 minutes. What you think, bro?
Damn, hold on. I don't remember the joint project. Who was that with?
Him and Tomo.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we didn't like it at all.
All right, well, here I stand again. Well, all right. All right, so look, he could write.
Yes.
He could put the pen to the paper, and he's putting his feelings out. He's on suicide watch.
Wow.
Some of them emo records scare me, dog.
Wow.
They talk about, I don't know, like if they feel like they gotta do it on those type of beats. You know what I'm talking? Those
I know
type
what you're
of beats
talking
I'm
about.
talking about. And it was just the emo feel. I don't like those records. The cohesiveness was off. Like there was the last record I liked a lot because he was rapping Icarus.
Yeah.
You killed it. So that record I like because he was
My man
rapping.
you ain't read no like mythology growing up, huh, nigga?
Nigga,
Icarus,
you had it.
like, God damn.
You had it. Let it rock. That was my favorite record because he was rapping on that shit. And then the other joints, it was just, I was watching out for the boy. I was like, yo, all right, you in pain. How much pain you going through? And sometimes I be thinking they just doing that for them records. And it's like these pain records is popping now. Everybody's in pain now. Everybody got pain that they dealing with. Not to say that you're not, King. It's just more like, I don't want, protect yourself.
He said, I ain't saying you not, King. I hate you, nigga. Whatever, keep going.
But I appreciate the pen work. The pen game is strong. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you got to write for others or switch up the production. Just rap because you was doing that shit on Icarus.
Yeah.
Right? You like that shit, right? Icarus?
Yeah, I liked Icarus. I don't really know what my favorite record was.
I don't have one.
Just off the strength of this is not my type of music. But my favorite record was Reposado.
Oh, Reposado, that was a good
Reposado.
joint. That was a good joint.
Nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because
actually was a good joint.
I like Reposado, my nigga. You know what I mean? Even though Añejo's really our go-to, but if I can't get no Añejo, I'm gonna drink some Reposado.
I mean, what other option is there?
Blanco.
Nah.
But ain't nobody doing that. But either way, I thought hearing Fuego by himself was a breath of fresh air in comparison to what I know him as, because the last joint was a joint effort, right? And when we think about these type of records, it's not that we think they're completely garbage. It's just not our type of music, right? It's a newer sound.
Yeah.
It's what
There's
gets
niggas that like this.
Yeah, it's what get these young niggas going. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna judge them. I am, but not on here.
I'm just not the guy that gravitates towards this sound. Do I think his authenticity is real? Probably. Look, I'm gonna tell you like this. So you talking about feelings and shit, right? You talking about
what he was
the
talking
emo
about.
shit, and yeah, but like that's what you kind of don't care for, right?
Yeah.
These newer kids are like way more in tune with their feelings and their emotions.
For real? No, of course.
Don't act like you don't fucking know. We call them soft, right?
We gotta stop that. They don't like that.
It's fine.
You know what I found out? Weird is okay.
Weird is great.
Yeah, weird.
Weird's always been good.
Right.
I mean,
So-
the thing is that when you're old, when you come from the era I'm from, again, born in 1975, grew up in the first era of rap. We saw rappers as superheroes. It was always, I'm the greatest, I'm this, I'm that. It was a lot of braggadocio. They're always talking about what they had, what they were going to do, who they were.
Right.
And then later on, we get into the crack era, and it was always from the perspective of the dealer. Always from the perspective of the dealer. And then when we get later on into this new era where it's more about like the opioid era, you can't have things go one way forever. If it's always from the perspective of the dealer, at some point you're going to get it from the perspective of the person who's abusing.
Right.
And when you do that, you're going to get the full thing. It's going to be, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm struggling with, this is how I feel. Because in the era of opioids, that's what the underlying thing is. So it always kills me when like older cats are like, it used to be like this, now it's like this. Well, motherfucker, time has passed.
Right.
That's what happens. I mean, you can't expect things to stay the same.
It doesn't mean we gotta like it though.
No, that's not what it means.
Yeah,
but
like,
it's just that you have to expect things to change.
This is true.
Because the only things that don't change, they're already dead. You know, so you have to expect things are gonna change. Just like I like this type of music because I say every year is somebody's 1988. I turned 13 in 1988. So you always look at music from the perspective of when you were young, you get into music between the ages of 9 and 13. That's when you're aware of everything. But the peak years of everything is between 13 and your early 20s.
Yeah.
So you go 13 to 25, because after that, now life starts life in. Now you got a family. You're paying rent. You got a mortgage. You don't have time, like you go to the club and you do whatever, but you don't have time to dedicate to whatever your interests are at all times.
Right.
Like you gotta hustle. You gotta survive. So you have a completely different perspective on life. So all that music that came out between the ages of 13 and maybe 21, whatever year you were born in, that's always the hot shit. Just like when you were a kid, your era of growing up was always the best cartoons, always the best this, and everybody else's shit was trash. It's an ongoing cycle, right? So with music, it's the same thing. I don't feel this, I don't like this, but it's not being made for you. You just have to keep that in mind. Like, I don't want to be the old dude hating on the next generation because I got to see it happen. I remember the fucking day I was born damn near. So I got to see it all happen. My older brother hated DOS Effects.
But you got to think about it like this, right? So if we're talking about the young dude's music, that's what I always say. Like, it ain't made for us, right? And that's okay too. You know what I mean? Like, but that doesn't make it sonically bad. I like this project. Like, when I heard this, I was like, yo, and it might have been because we was at FET, right? We ran into Fuego, and he was like, "Yeah, nigga, you gave my last shit some bullshit score or whatever," and he was cool about it. He was laughing about it, and he was like, "Nah, I got this fire shit called Phoenix about to drop," and I said, "Okay." He's like, "I want y'all to rate it." He sent me the project when it dropped. I didn't know what to expect, but even though it's not my type of music, it's probably not some shit that I'm probably gonna replay again over and over. It was a breath of fresh air. It was cool.
It was some good records on there.
Fun.
There was some good records.
It was fun, and I liked Reposado because he was talking about some shit that, you know, young dudes do with young women. You know what I mean?
He's into the music, man. You can hear the ear. Like, like the variety of music that he's intaking is really wide. Like,
right.
I want to ask if he was hitting the guitar on the end of one of them joints.
What song was that?
I forgot the name of it because it
was Sunset Drive.
I forgot the name, but it sounded like it was a solo of him hitting the guitar. I want to know if that was him.
Yeah, I mean, I like the joint with him and Hoss. That was Gone/Karma. You know, again, I said Reposado was my favorite. Send It Up was cool. And Icarus was a really good way to wrap it all up, right?
Because he was rapping.
Yeah. He actually rapped his face off. And that's the whole story of the Phoenix and Icarus, man. You can do your research later.
Yeah, I'm about to go Google
you know
later.
what I mean? But out of 5 red cups, man, let's talk about what we gave this. We talking about my man Fuego Veli.
Yeah.
Phoenix, we gave this a solid 3.7 out of 5, man. Keep grinding, my nigga. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep creating, bro. Next project we gonna talk about, man. We got some R&B in the building, man. Somebody from the city of Boston. My guy, somebody that we actually spoke to before. We've rated his projects prior as well, man. We talking about my man Rosewood Bait. Rosewood Bait dropped Rose from Nothing. This is 15 tracks, 43 minutes. What you think, bro?
I mean, honestly, this was Rosewood at his finest, man. This is the type of shit he do. There's a lot of radio hits I hear on here.
Yeah.
My favorite joint is Zing.
Yeah, we know.
That was a good record.
I felt like Zing should have had Dunny or somebody on there.
Yeah, he had mad records on here. Like, what's on here didn't need to be on here twice. What's it called? With Chavo. Like the Chavo.
Sober Twice?
Sober 2. Like,
yeah, Sober 2.
Yeah, like, he should have just kept Sober 2. You didn't have to have the
original.
Was this a deluxe?
I'm not sure. I don't think this was a deluxe, but I don't know if there was
I just felt like it just feels like he's stuffed mad records. And he's a hook master.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, he be like putting records together. We'd be like, yeah, I'm just going to do the hook. And then I'm going to ad-lib the verses and then do the hook over again. You know what I mean? But it sounds good because it's like, he know how to, do the hook on the beat. Like, he don't choose, stupid-ass production. He gets the production that fits him perfect, nigga.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, this is for me. The only record I hated was the Time After Time shit.
Why?
Because he kept doing time after time. And
bro, even on the beginning, like the Devil Wears Prada, he goes, I could tell you're lying because when you're replying. I feel like he was just doing an ode to like the classic records that he liked.
But it wasn't like the production was with it. He was just biting.
You just thought he was just biting lyrics.
Yeah, that's what he was doing. Like, it's not like the.
But you can't do those lyrics on any record, is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So like, there must have been some inspiration behind it for it to have happened like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, for you to just do Time After Time, like, why? Why did he do Time After Time on that? Why did he do the stutter on the Devil's Wear Prada? Like, where's Prada? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mean, it fit.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, but it wasn't your worst. Wasn't your, like, yeah, I mean, you took some classic shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, and everybody's gonna be like, oh shit, yeah, that's what you just gonna bring niggas back. But I get it though. I get the play. These is good records. I was feeling this project. I would listen to it again.
I think this is Rosewood's best project.
Ooh.
Hands down. Like I could listen to this from start to finish, man, with no skips. I mean, like, even if you don't even listen to the words, just because it's a vibe. You know
It is a vibe.
Yeah, and
it's for the bitches, nigga.
it is for the bitches. We all know that. Yeah, but that's what he do. That's the type of music he make. Yeah. It's for the bitches, nigga. My favorite record has to be Perfect with Shay Benz.
Oh, that was a great record too. Shay was all over that.
Shout out Shay Benz. Did it?
She did a pick on that.
You know, I thought what I want to see though is Rosewood get a little more personal. Like I want his fans to know who Rosewood Bait really is.
Me too.
I want his fans to actually hear, you know, what he's going through in life and things of that nature, and put that into the music. We haven't witnessed that yet. We haven't experienced.
I was just saying that.
Like,
he makes records that anybody could be like, "Hey, yo, I'm taking this record," and just say everything that he's saying.
Right.
And it'd be like, yeah,
which is great.
Yeah, it's
from
like a reference
like,
record.
Like, if you want to sell any of these records, that's great for him. But I want to hear him get vulnerable. I want to hear him share his life, because with his pen and him actually doing things of that nature, I think he'll actually be able to get people to connect with him on another level that they've never been able to connect with him before.
Nah, that makes sense.
And that's what I would like to see from Rosewood. But if we're talking about this, bro, I mean, like, yeah, it's a tape full of bops, man. You play this from the start to finish. You going out, whatever, buying your shorty going out, she playing this, whatever. You going out with your shorty, whatever. Like, I mean, like, it's not a bad, like, you know, project to play. He had Chavo on here. He had Millie's on here.
Millie's on this shit.
Shay Benz. Somebody named Honest. That's with Zing, right?
Zing, yeah.
And also, record. I liked All Year too with Hollywood Chris, man. So let's talk about the rating. Out of 5 red cups, man.
Yeah, what we do?
We gave my man Rosewood Bait a solid 4.3.
All right.
Out of 5 red cups, man. Shout out my man Rosewood Bait. We're gonna talk to you real soon,
the whole
bro.
Team was feeling it. I like that.
Yeah, everybody liked this one, man.
I get it.
Yeah, this was a good.
I get it. We got women rating
all
too,
around,
you know?
all around. Everybody liked this one.
For those women, you know. See, I cleaned it up.
Yeah, it's good. I like what you did there.
See, I cleaned it up because I know them personally. I don't know the rest of them bitches.
Almost. It's almost there.
All right, man, let's bring in the guest this week, man. You already heard from him a little bit, man, but I want to give you a quick little intro, man. This is somebody who's been around for a very long time when it comes to this hip-hop space, and not just hip-hop space, just when it comes to history out here in Boston, man. My man has walked these streets. He has seen these streets, and he can tell you a lot of stories, and not just in these streets, but a lot of different aspects of culture, art, and everything of that nature, man. So I need everybody and anybody give your undivided attention. Yeah. My man, Dor Adams. What's good, baby?
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, fact.
What's the word, baby? How you doing?
I'm good. It's working nonstop. I'm doing 3 things right now. Shit.
I'm glad you're here, man.
So you Jamaican?
No. Funny. Half my family's from Honduras, and the other half came from Montgomery County, Alabama, via the Great Migration. So everybody arrived in Boston, South End, Lower Roxbury, Dorchester.
Okay. Speaking of Honduras, I seen you post something on your IG story the other day about not being able to speak Spanish but understanding it. So is that your reality?
Well, yeah. I call it the Black-Tino struggle, because half your family is Latino and speaks Spanish, and the other half of your family is, you know, what some people call original recipe black. And what happens is you grow up in a family where everybody speaks Spanish, and also the other thing that you have to understand about Spanish is that depending on where you're from, if you're in Boston, where it's overwhelmingly Puerto Ricans, Dominicans at the time I was growing up,
right,
Spanish sounds very different than it does coming from these two groups of people who speak Spanish versus your Honduran family.
Oh, absolutely.
And then to make it worse, you're first being immersed in Spanish, right? But first, there's Spanish language television. The two predominant channels are Telemundo and Univision.
Yeah.
Which one side Mexican, one side Mexican, the other side
Spaniard?
No. Something else.
Some other shit.
So Spanish sounds very different on one channel than it does on the other channel.
Okay.
There's different words being used, there's different phrases being used, there's different everything. And then if you know Dominicans, they speak Spanish differently.
Like time's about to run out.
Yeah. Puerto Ricans speak Spanish differently.
Yeah.
So when you go to school and you learn Spanish, they're teaching you Castilian Spanish from Spain.
Okay.
And that shit makes no sense.
Because you fucked me up with that Castilian word.
Yeah,
I didn't know what that was.
it's like Basque Country, Spain.
You met your fucking match.
So when you grow up in a family, in a household, it's like, all right, Spanish can be fast, it could be slow, you could be missing syllables, but if you watch it on TV and you're trying to catch up, if you yawn or you sneeze, you're fucking lost. So it's a struggle. It's a struggle. And especially, let's say that you're growing up and like someone speaking Spanish to you and you can process what it is, but you can't speak it.
Right.
So somebody could say da 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 da, and you just go pick up, something and hand it to them.
Right.
I understand what you're saying. Or you have a girl yell at you for 3 minutes, and you know what she's mad about, but you missing words. Yeah. So like that's the struggle of being like black and Latino.
Watching Telemundo to challenge himself. he be watching.
Well, no. Period. Yeah. When you grew up, you would watch everything to challenge yourself.
I get it. That's real shit.
But being on the bus, being on the train, being around people.
Now, once I heard Moreno, that's when I knew. Like,
they was talking about me.
Hold up. Now my ears perked up. Like, you ain't robbing me. I'm already hyped now, nigga.
But man, when you understand Spanish and you be around and you're tuned to people's conversations and you realize, especially like at the barbershop, everybody's Dominican in my barbershop. Cutting Edge, shout out Cutting Edge Barbershop. And the language, the conversations they be having, I'm like, they know I can hear them, right? They know I understand them. But then after a while, like they see my reaction and stuff and they're like, okay, he understands what we're saying. So it's funny. But they're never talking about me, but they're like having conversations. Yeah, because it's wild.
But dog, man, for the people who don't know who you are, man, because you're new to this platform, give us a quick rundown of who you are, what you do, what you represent. It's never quick.
From South End Lower Roxbury, I'm a journalist. I'm a writer. I'm an author. I'm a historian. Born and raised a Bostonian who tries to change people's perception of Boston through showing them different aspects of culture. I've been in every space you could imagine: music, television, film, all that.
I like that, man. You grew up in South End, like you said, Lower Roxbury, right? Yeah. Talk about growing up for you, man, because I know that you was close with the New Edition cats, man, right?
So, yeah. What happened is one of my I had family that was from Orchard Park. That was in Orchard Park.
Okay.
And one of my cousins, my cousins Baron and Dion, my cousin Baron was best friends with Ralph Tresvant.
Okay.
And
Riz, the original Riz.
Yeah. Riz. So
yo, where did the Isis come from, yo?
Riz, Ralph Tresvant.
Did it all come from Riz?
No.
That's the first Riz that I knew.
Well, it existed before that.
Okay.
It existed before that.
He made it hot though.
Yeah, but like the IZZ on everybody's name, that existed since the 70s.
This is a chiz right here.
Yeah, that existed since the 70s. That was a thing since the 70s.
Okay.
Because Ron is Riz, Rizzo, Rizzy Mo, all that.
Right.
Okay, so my cousin Baron and my cousin Dion. My cousin Baron's best friends with Ralph Tresvant. And we had family that was in Orchard Park. And Orchard Park, just like anything in Boston, everything's super territorial, everything's family oriented, and everybody in the projects, everybody clicks together. Right. So this building is a family. This building's a family.
Right.
So everybody knew everybody. And also in Boston at the time, we had the talent shows. Yeah. And so the Boston talent show circuit, super important. And we treated it like Texas treats high school football.
Fact.
Because it's that engrossing and we were that good at it and it was that important to the culture, right?
Okay.
And so you had all these great R&B acts, all these soul acts, all these funk acts that would compete with each other. And it didn't matter if you were a kid. It didn't matter if you were an adult. You were all on that stage, and no one took mercy on you.
Who was hosting the talent shows?
So it was a man named Maury Starr and another man named Roscoe Gorham.
Roscoe
Gorham, who owned Roscoe's Lounge, which was at the time in Dudley
so
Square.
This was no high school shit.
Well, you had those, but it didn't matter because the high school talent shows were just window dressing and rehearsal for being in the Hollywood talent night talent show.
Right.
Because you had pros.
You was getting signed.
You were getting signed off of that. Yeah. You had pros at the talent show circuit.
That's fine.
You know, people would go to Boston talent shows from Philadelphia, from New York, from California, and sign people straight off the talent shows.
Why
circuit.
was it Boston?
Why was it Boston?
Yeah, why was it Boston's talent shows, like specifically?
Well, because, Boston has always been a hotbed of music and culture going back when Boston was a jazz mecca in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. All right. And Boston has this unique thing with music where it breeds musicians, all-time great musicians, all-time great singers, all-time great dancers. Black culture flourishes in Boston. I don't know what's in the water, but we are always leaders in that space. We don't get credit for it a lot. That's why God made me to tell the stories. But it's always been that case. So people would come to Boston and poach talent. I've told the story on I've told different stories on different podcasts and stuff like that. I've written about it. I've tried to make books about it and sell it to publishers, and they've slept. So, it's always been a case. But specifically in Orchard Park, when New Edition were coming up, they were little kids thrust into this culture where, you perform at the talent shows. First, they were called the Bricks. You had Travis and Corey leave. They do their own thing. They start their own band. So it's like, all right, we need somebody to replace Travis and Corey. We need a new lead singer. Let's get Ralph. We get Ralph. They bring Ralph in. Ralph does his thing, and then after a while, they go talk to Homie, and he's like, I'm gonna bring my nephew Ron from Cathedral to be in the group. And that's how that all happened. Now imagine being a little kid witnessing all that happening.
Yeah.
And so my older brother's 6 years older than me, my older sister's 9 years older than me. And so they grew up with those kids in Orchard Park.
That's crazy.
All those kids. And I was the little kid that always had to tag along.
Yeah.
So
you was seeing that shit
it
was mad big.
Yeah. So I was privy and witness to shit that I shouldn't have been from a young child.
Yeah.
Like Bobby Brown explained the concept of pussy to me when I was a child.
I believe that.
Because I heard them talking, I was like, all y'all talk about is like, little man, do you even know what I'm talking about? Let me tell you. And as he's telling me, my brother is just like,
hey, yo.
like he can't handle this.
How old was you at that time?
So this is 1982. So I was 6 going on 7.
Standing in the middle of OP.
So I was just like, it was
giving advice about pussy from Bobby Brown.
He was explaining the concept and the chase of it and why they talk about it.
Oh, that's fine.
Why niggas like pussy?
Yeah.
You remember?
Yes. I remember. Yes.
Tell me.
Yes.
What that nigga say?
Dude, let's put it this way. I remember it so vividly that I didn't fully get it until years later. I was like 11, and I was just like,
hey, yo.
oh, that's what he was talking about.
He's like, yeah, this shit is fire.
I was like, that's what he was talking about, because he was explaining to me the whole pursuit of it, why they talk about it, why it occupies their minds, like what they do. Like pretty much everybody, they do what they do because of it, like it's like the pursuit of money and that,
right?
Like we want fame, we want money, we want pussy.
Just don't let Bobby school you on nothing else, dog.
Too late.
He said too late.
Too late. Ralph, Bobby, Biv. Nope. Biv used to get pissed off at me as a kid because he knew I was going to be tall and I couldn't dribble between my legs. So I didn't have coordination. And basketball is everything.
And Mike cared about ball.
Yeah.
Mike was
Everything-
Mike was one of the
yeah.
all-time greatest point guards to ever come out of the city.
No,
Mike would have had a shot. Mike would have played in college, definitely, and he would have had a shot to play pro, whether it be overseas or in the NBA, had it not been for the fact he was in New Edition. Like, Mike was so nice that he was point guard at the Boston Shootout. Like,
oh shit.
think about when we talk about the point guards of the Boston Shootout. Anybody knows me knows basketball.
For
Everything.
the people who don't know what the Boston Shootout is, tell them what that is.
Okay, so the Boston Shootout was.
You know what I mean? We got a lot of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gen Z's in here
Okay,
right now.
so the Boston Shootout, was. So when you think about the McDonald's All-American game, you think about AAU. The Boston Shootout was the dominant and preeminent showcase for high school basketball talent. Yeah. Anybody who was great wanted to play in the Boston Shootout. And you came from all over, whether New York, Philly, California, Atlanta, Georgia, everywhere. Connecticut, anywhere you had nice players, they had teams and they would come to Boston. And they would play in the Boston Shootout. It was this way between 1972 and like 1999. So every summer was about the Boston Shootout growing up. It was about BNBL and the Boston Shootout specifically because all-time great players, people that went on to become pros, played the Boston Shootout. And when you look at the list of Boston players who were the point guard, and Boston teams have always been dominated by the guards. You're looking at guys like Dana Barrows, like talking about like Ramil Robinson, Carl Hobbs, like all-time great players, like Scooney Penn, like guys like that.
So these niggas was playing outside in the park?
No. They played indoors.
Right.
They played indoors. Right. First, you were playing BU's gym, you played Northeastern's gym, but then after a while, you played in UMass's gym or Boston Garden.
Fire.
Wow.
I'm not talking about TD Garden. I'm talking Boston Garden.
Right.
Then later TD Garden.
Right.
So like the championship game, the final game was in Boston Garden.
Yeah.
And if you go on YouTube and look up Boston Shootout 1990, 89, 90, 91, you'll find those videos.
I was born in 89.
That's fire.
Damn.
Yeah.
I turned 14 in 89.
Nigga said, damn.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean, so you my brother's age, right? You know what I mean? I got a brother who's born in 74, right?
I was born in 75, so yeah.
So y'all around that same era, right? But he wasn't 12 or 13 until he came here to the States with my parents, right?
All right.
Well, my mom, right? From Haiti. So
Okay.
I always say I'm like jealous of the guys who were born in the 70s because y'all caught the illest era of rap. Y'all seen it from its inception, essentially, right? If you was really outside and you seen what the fuck was going on.
Well, yeah.
You had a chance to sell crack.
That too. You know,
highest.
What do you like? What do you think? Like the basically like the biggest differences are from Gen X, which you are, right, to the millennials, right? Like what?
Well, that's a loaded question, but the big thing is that when you started, we're talking about this in the car on the way over,
right?
1979 is the year of the first rap records. Rap as we know it didn't start existing until between 76 and 77. Let's get that out the way, all right? So by the time the first rap records come out in 79, rap is probably 3 years old at the most, as we know it then.
Right.
The way it's set up. Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Grandmaster Flash 3 MCs, then later the Furious 5 become the gold standard for what a group is, MCs. And then you get the, Fantastic Five, you get the Cold Crush Brothers, you get, Funky 4+1, you get Treacherous 3, you get Crash Crew, you get all these groups, Mercedes Ladies, you get all these groups. But basically it started out with everything was about the DJ, right? Rap was not the big thing. The only reason you had rappers is because you had to big up the DJ.
Right.
when you were a rapper, you auditioned for the DJ. It was everything was about the DJ. Even if you listen to early tapes, and we were getting early tapes in like 78 and 79 before the first rap records came out. And basically, battles, clashes was all about the MCs rapping about how our DJ's better than your DJ. Right. We can rock. He can rock the house. He spins better than you. He plays better than you. And then we do our routine because we are rapping over what the DJ's doing.
Yeah,
so that's the big thing, right? And also, again, when I was talking in the car to you, I was telling you, your career started between the age of maybe 15, 16 to 18, right? The first wave of great MCs, the first triumvirate of great MCs, we're talking about Grandmaster Melly Mel, we're talking about Grandmaster Caz, and we're talking about Kool Moe Dee.
Niggas has some bill as the Grandmaster.
Yeah. Well, it came from Kung Fu.
I'm
Yeah. So these dudes were 16, 17, 18 in 1979, and they were grandmasters, and they were greats, and they were all city, right? The idea of being a 25 to 30-year-old rapper didn't exist.
Yeah, it was like,
all right? Again, rap itself was only about 3 years old.
Those were their parents.
Yeah. So rap itself was only about 3 years old. And by 1981, 82, you're like, oh, I'm still rapping, because the idea of the record didn't even exist.
Right.
The concept of the record didn't exist until 1979.
Wow.
So by the time we get to 1983 and we get to the Run DMCs and stuff like that, we go from the old school era to what they call the new school era, right? I got to see all that happen in a span of 3-4 years, right? So that's the big difference. And like, you go from dudes that rapped in the park, that rap for the DJs, that rap for people that just rock the house, you know, that's all that mattered. Just rock the house. And records were like 10, 15 minutes because they're trying to replicate what people were doing in the park, what they were doing at the club. All right. So the best MC, or the greatest MC, just had rhymes, or could just entertain the crowd.
Right.
Who got $5 in their pocket? You know, who got the name? What zodiac sign are you? You know, because you had to come up with shit to keep people entertained,
right,
for hours and hours and hours. So we didn't get to the point where it's like, who's the illest MC, who's the greatest MC, until later. Somebody had to raise the bar. Kool Moe Dee and Treacherous Street had to be like, we're gonna rap real fast. We're gonna use a lot of syllables, and everybody else had to catch up. Grandmaster Flash and Grandmaster Melly Mel and Grandmaster Caz had to do the same thing. And then it's like, okay, that's what a great MC is. Now I have to take this and take it to a whole nother level. Yeah. Then Run DMC were like, we're gonna take what they do at the park and we're gonna put it on record, because a lot of what people were doing was they were taking bands, live bands, and they were like, we're gonna replicate what the hot song is, the hot disco song is, Freedom. We're gonna replicate Chic, the Freak. We're gonna replicate that on record. We're gonna rap over that. Run DMC were like, we're gonna rap over, and we're gonna dress like the people in the crowd. We're not gonna dress like fucking a funk band,
right?
Because again, the reason why these guys dress like funk bands is because
that's what they saw.
Well, also was the sign of I'm successful was I'm doing a tour. I'm doing a show next to Lakeside. I'm doing a show next to Aura, next to Confunction. Right. You know, next to
I gotta wear this shit, man.
Next to all the popular Cameo, the popular black bands. So we have to look like them to be successful.
Look like success.
Yeah.
But if we look like the dudes on the street,
nobody's gonna take it seriously, allegedly.
Run DMC were like, we're gonna look like the cats in Harlem. We're gonna look like the cats in Queens.
But I heard they took that from Jam Master Jay.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. So, because what happened was specifically they were like dressed like Jay. Yeah.
So we all right. So we you know, if you give a fuck about hip hop history, you would know that, right, from a grand scale of things, right? What did it look like on a Boston scale? You know what I mean?
It's kind of the same thing. Again,
like, who were the guys back then?
Well,
like back in the 80s?
What you have to understand
like,
is
how did it transfer over?
Well, what you have to understand is Boston's 20 miles away from New York. We got cousins in New York. We got relatives in New York. They were sending tapes. And when you were a rapper in the early days, only 5 places you could go to ply your goddamn trade. You were going to New Jersey. You were going to Connecticut. You were going to Pennsylvania, Philly. You were coming to Boston.
Okay.
That was where rap hit first. That's where the first places where they had radio stations that played rap. It was the first places where you go to a record store. We had Skippy Whites, we had Strawberries in Boston,
Strawberry.
where you could buy rap records.
I heard you in the interview. There was the MIT college radio station show called The Ghetto.
Well, see, the Ghetto show specifically started back in the late 60s.
That shit is crazy.
Well,
Not the ghetto was a common phrase.
yeah, because
wasn't-
if you were going to talk about, and again, the show was started by black people.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It was black people though.
Yeah.
Because the sound of the ghetto was where black music
Came from.
Yeah. It was the. If you go back and look at old records from the 60s and 70s and 80s, look at where these musicians are taking these pictures.
Though.
All the music is ghetto music. That's the ghetto music, the blueprint of hip hop.
Yeah.
So basically all the music was inspired by culture inside the inner city, which was the ghetto. So the radio show was called The Ghetto. And it was in 1979, it happened to be the show that played rap first. Before like occasionally maybe you'd hear rap on WILD, which was Boston's black radio station, which no longer exists.
Right.
But WRBB, Boston, WERS would play it. All these other radio stations, local college radio stations would play it.
Yeah.
So you had to rely on college radio because, again, Boston's black radio station, when the sun went down, it lost the signal.
Yeah.
Okay? So all the college radio stations had to jump in and pick up the slack as soon as they went down.
That was WERS.
It was on top of that.
So, all right. So, all of that, right? You come from immersed in this culture, right?
Yeah.
When all of this shit is happening and things of that nature, what was your goal as an adult? Like, when you got into journalism, right? What made you get into journalism? What was your angle?
So, when I was a kid, again, this goes back to when I was a kid. When I was a kid, there was a magazine called Right On.
Okay.
And there was another magazine called Black Beat.
Okay.
I heard of Right On.
Right On was not serious journalism. Right On didn't take a hard stance on anything. If there was a record, and I heard the record's kind of trash, Cynthia Horner, who was the editor of Right On, wouldn't say anything bad about it. She was like, good effort, what have you, maybe almost there, you have to figure out some things, but never say anything critical about the record.
Like that.
Black Beat was another thing, was like, they never were critical, like, some songs are better than others, this and this and this, but they were never critical.
Okay.
And I would read white magazines like Rolling Stone, and I was just like, they just tear shit down.
Yeah.
And I was like, how come the black publications are never critical about black music? And my brother and sister, who were 6 and 9 years older than me, explained, it was like, the problem is that these white outlets are going to tear down black music already, so black people don't want to be the ones to do it. I was like, but if we're not real, if we're not serious with this, then how are we ever gonna hold each other accountable? And I'm a kid saying this, and they're like, "Well, goddamn, man." So we get So we get later in it, and so you get Word Up magazine, you get Fresh magazine, and they kind of have a lot of posters, and they do a lot of pictures and everything, but they're never critical. They're never critical, and I was just like, when is somebody going to be serious, take this shit seriously and be critical about it? And I didn't see anything critical about rap until The Source. The Source was started by a bunch of dudes from Cambridge,
Yeah.
One dude from Philly, another dude who came from Washington, D.C., and a bunch of other people from Boston, in a Harvard dorm room.
So it was Dave Mays, who else?
Dave Mays and John Schechter.
Okay.
So John Schechter, basically, yeah. Dave Mays was like on the business side, but John Schechter was the writer.
Okay.
He was actually a creative guy. And he was also in a group called BMOC.
Okay.
On Sire, Play That Funk. So when I saw The Source and I read The Source, I was like, oh, wait. Somebody's actually being critical and serious and writing about this and not treating it with kid gloves and being serious. Yeah. And I was like, I want to do that. because I felt like that's something that rap was missing. Because everybody was always, you know, this is dope. I like this. This could be better. Tell me when something's trash. Say when something's trash. Say when a rapper isn't doing the right thing. Say when a beat's garbage. Nothing. Say when a beat's garbage. Like
you call niggas whack too?
Have to. There's no progress.
There's
without
no words that don't. There's no words.
But there's no progress without holding somebody accountable. All right, like with journalism, I've seen a lot of shows where it's like somebody says something just like, and they just let that shit go. And I'm like, how come nobody checked the person right then and there and told them? Like nothing, like you just let that go.
What you mean? Like somebody says something that's
like your Donald Trump shit. You see, like you see me sitting next to you. You talking about Donald Trump? He's like, nigga, how can you sit there and let this?
Perfect example.
I get you, dog.
Perfect example. Dog. But like you watch like
this
nigga. No, yeah. But you'll watch something like fucking Drink Champs.
Yeah.
You watch Drink Champs, and Nori will say something completely off. And they just let it fly.
I think it's the teeth, man. It's the veneers, man. His veneers been fucking him up.
No bullshit. You know what I've noticed about you, man? You hate when motherfuckers give wrong dates on when things took place. Right?
Well, because some things are important, man. Yeah. Getting facts straighter is important.
You're an actual factual motherfucker. And that's why, like, I felt like, wow, Dart actually agreed to do this. Because we say wow.
I know.
Off the
but what did I tell you? What did I tell you in the DMs when you said, would you like to be on the show?
You was like, yo, don't be on no bullshit. I'm 48 and I don't got the time.
Yes.
Right? So here we are.
Yeah.
Because I did another show. I did It's Lit.
It's Lit Boston. Shout out It's Lit.
I did that. I did an episode of It's Lit, and that shit was a fucking disaster.
Jesus.
I had a tension headache halfway through, and they were like, "Oh, that was dope." And I went home, and I was like, "What the fuck show were they watching?" I was like, I was pretty much arguing with them the whole show.
About
like,
what?
We got into a conversation about Millie's.
Okay.
And they were talking about Millie's, and I was just like, look, Millie's been my dude since like 2009, right?
Yeah.
And we were just going back and forth, like boy like me.
Yeah.
We were going back and forth, like, and I was just, he talked about and I was just like, so like, and then like there was just a bunch of other stuff. It's like I can't tolerate bullshit, right? Because I'm old. But also like facts matter, and when it comes to like black music, black culture, facts matter.
Absolutely.
The timeline matters. Context is super important. So I've always been one of those people that's like, look, no.
Yeah.
Actually, what happened is, and the thing is that's why I was never popular on Black Twitter, because it's all about the jokes, and jokes are more important than facts.
Yeah.
And when you come in and you're like, well, actually, you sound like to them, well, you know,
this Poindexter ass.
The group chat wanted to know why you off Twitter. So this is your answer.
Well, I'm off Twitter because I'm a journalist.
Okay.
And what Elon Musk has tried to do purposely is muddy the water, so facts don't matter, journalism doesn't matter. So all of his white supremacists, all of his anti-everything, all of his genocide supporters can take over that app and just fuck up everything going into an election year. And I was like, I want no parts of this. There's not going to be no blood on my hands. And then I went over to Blue Sky, where journalists actually are. And the thing about Blue Sky is that if you go on Blue Sky and you scroll down that shit, you're like, nope, I want no parts of this. Because if you're not serious, you're not going to be on that app. So it's a bunch of journalists and a lot of people that got laid off, because all journalists are being laid off lately. You know, just talking about what's going on with this whole, you know, with this whole thing coming into the next election cycle and all the harm that's being done. And I knew as soon as Elon Musk took over Twitter, I was just like,
days was limited.
I was like,
I saw you
minute
like
tickle a person, the writing is on the wall. And as soon I was like, January 1st, 2024, I'm out of here. I admit that shit.
Yeah, niggas was asking, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you go on Twitter right now, there's a whole bunch of trash going
it's
on.
Porn, bro. I can't even open Twitter.
Well, because 4chan's taking over, because white supremacists is taking over, because all these idiots have taken completely the what's the phrase they use? The inmates are running the asylum.
Right.
So if you're still on there,
Yeah.
I mean, with Twitter, I post and I leave, right? I talk shit and I leave. Like, I don't go to Twitter for, I used to go to Twitter for, like, updating news. Like, real time, what's happening right now, news, right? And I feel like even, you joined Twitter back in what, 08?
08.
Right?
December 08.
And I felt
I
like,
joined on Titty Tuesday.
yeah, that was about 2009 or something like 2010, some shit like that.
Okay.
I just remember it was a Tuesday.
Yeah, that's why I joined Twitter. He was like, "What? This titties?"
This nigga was like, "It's Titty Tuesday." I was like, "Nigga."
He's like, "What is that? Where the titties?" I was like,
He's like,
Twitter.
on Twitter every Tuesday. It's
like,
post they tell. Like, well,
"How do I make an account?"
here I am complaining about porn.
Go figure.
Full circle. It's the circle of life.
That's how that goes.
Hey, that was a long time ago. But either way, right? Either way, that at that time, Twitter was different.
Absolutely. Well, it was still being built too. People
Yeah.
were still trying to find out what it was good for, but conversations were happening there.
Yeah.
And everybody who was blogging at the time was on there. So we were actually having real discussions about rap, about journalism, about this and this and this and this and this. And we were building things as they went.
Right.
And after a while, things just completely just fell apart, you know, where it was just like, this doesn't even make sense anymore. It's a waste of time, you know? So that's when it just got sad. By that time, I was like, I've been on here 15 years. My last day on Twitter was my 15th anniversary of starting the account. And I was like,
Oh shit.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Do you have like a plight with like Boston Black Twitter?
Boston Black Twitter loves me because I tell the story of Boston, of Black Boston. Like, the thing was that people started following me because I would tell all of these stories about Black Boston. Yeah. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to explain to people that Black Bostonians and Black Massachusetts residents existed, and Black culture has existed since the fucking 1630s.
Right.
Because what happens is Boston and Black culture and Black America is just hated. They just hate Boston. Haven't stepped foot here, haven't lived here for an extended amount of time, don't really have family here, no roots here. You're going on second, third hand information.
Yeah.
There are generation upon generation upon generation of Black folks that have contributed to Boston and made a life here and carved out a life here, and you completely get overwritten. They don't even pay attention to you. They act like you don't exist. And if you do talk about Boston, like I love Boston, like my Twitter bio was one word, Bostonian. Because when you think about Boston, it's always some white dude that sounds like Pac the Ka and Harvard Jad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck that. I was born and raised here, lived in the heart of Boston. Nobody, I dare a motherfucker to say they're more Boston than me. You know? And I'm the face of Boston. And I know the Wahlbergs, you know, and I'll say it to their face. Like, that's why I use the phrase actual Bostonian. They don't get mad about that. They get it. Because guess what? They went to Black schools. Right. They had to be in the same talent shows circuit that we were in. You know, like, I used to see them dudes all the time. I used to see them practice. I used to see them perform.
Somewhere over there by Wells Ave.
Damn,
right?
they did good at the talent shows?
Yeah. Damn. That's how they got their deal.
Oh, they was like, hell yeah.
Well, think about it. Their first video, if you go to Please Don't Go Girl, there's two versions of the Please Don't Go Girl video. There's the version that they played on BET, which was shot in my neighborhood and at Ruggles when it was brand new. And then there's the version that Columbia made them shoot. They brought them to Brooklyn, and they did it in black and white. And they had them with these white Italian girls. It's like, you got white Italian girls in the North End.
Right.
Like, why you have to bring them to Brooklyn? You know? So if you go back and look at early Black music charts, New Kids on the Block are on those charts. Please Don't Go Girl, You Got the Right Stuff. They're on the black music charts.
Wow.
Because that's what they were making. They were making R&B. Their producers were black.
Right.
The guy who did their marketing was black.
Right.
You know, their writers were black. So, like, people forget that.
That's true.
Are you the same age as the Wahlbergs? Around the same age, at least?
This nigga over there,
They're,
everybody.
they're like around the
they
same
might
age
be
as
around-
like my older brother.
Yeah,
they're like
little
around
older.
the same age as my older brother.
Okay. So you seen all of this shit unfold. And that's like kind of like why I like hearing from guys in your generation, man, because, you know, we see what the fuck's going on in Boston now.
Yeah.
Right? But you seen how it evolved and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go into the rap era,
Yeah.
right? Because then the first, you know, big rapper, I guess, was L.O.G., right? Right?
Well, he was the first one to make real headway with I Gotta Have It. But when you talk about rap in Boston, man, it goes back to guys like, you know, MC Spice. It goes back to guys like, dress like FTI, you know, Fresh and Press. It goes back to Almighty R.S. Soul.
Yep.
It goes back to Body Rock Crew. My
Okay.
cousin was in that back when he was Emo E, and Big Chuck, who went on to be big at what do you call it? With Dog Pound and Snoop and Dre and Death Row. So he ended up working for Death Row. There were so many
Damn,
people.
you don't put Guru in that?
Well, I'm getting the Gangstar. So Gangstar was also another early group, you know, and they eventually, you know, were on Let Go's Limo back in 86, and then they got signed to K-Tel Wild Pitch in 87, and, you know, they put out their first singles. So Gangstar was a Boston rap group from like 1986 all the way up until 1988.
I was gonna say Gangstar to me is a good battle when you say Mobb Deep. When you say Mobb Deep, like in the 2-man producer rapper.
Nah, but Havoc also rapped a lot too, so that's not fair.
But
you can't really compare the two.
Well, at first it was they both were producing, and then it ended up being just Havoc handling the boards, and you know, and then like Prodigy being like focusing on rap, because Prodigy used to produce before at first.
You see, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So and like, but it's wild because when you think, I think of two dudes, or two people. For me, it's always Gangstar.
Rock
Then
Him.
it's Mobb Deep, and it's M.O.P.
Okay.
And it goes like that. Like Run DMC is three. It's three.
That's three. That's
people.
three.
You want to say Eric B and Rakim?
But here's the difference with Eric B and Rakim. Eric B wasn't really doing the production.
Okay.
Rakim was doing way more production, and then they had other people from outside doing the production.
Okay, fair enough.
And Eric B, it's not like Eric B was one of the all-time great scratch DJs. He wasn't Jazzy Jeff on
Right.
the turntables. So it's tough. Like it's like when you say, like, think about Cool G Rap and DJ Polo. DJ Polo didn't produce.
Right.
You know, DJ Polo wasn't an all-time great, you know, scratching DJ where you're gonna have him do the DJ
it was
record.
Cool G Rap.
Yeah. Now, Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah.
Jazzy Jeff was the draw.
Yeah.
We're gonna listen to Will.
He was the talent.
He was
yeah. Jazzy Jeff was always the draw.
the one that hosted.
Like,
the
Will,
party.
Will was the example of the MC that
that
didn't
hyped
have
up
to
the
be
DJ.
the great
Yeah,
MC.
yeah.
He hyped up the DJ.
He was
Yeah.
the true MC. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, he's also an entertainer in every aspect. Like, if you go back to listen to his shit live at Union Square, the stuff he did, like, he was a great entertainer. Also, he was really good at battling.
Right.
Because you could come at him hard and he'll like use jokes,
Slap you at the Oscars.
something like that. But lyrically,
All right, so back to Boston, man.
yeah. But like, there were so many like groups. There were so many groups in the early days of Boston rap, and then like when we get to the Lecco's Lemma era, and then we get to the like the era of like the Street Beat Show. That's 86 through 89, right?
Yeah.
And we have that, and then TDS Mob, super important group. TDS Mob was my neighborhood rap group.
What that stand for? TDS.
Treacherous, devastating, supreme. But we called them
niggas love that word.
but we called them the drug selling mob. So it was Cool G, who known as Cool Jesus.
Yeah.
And then you had Michael K and DJ Devastator. Okay. Michael K was like Boston's response to Grandmaster Flash.
Okay.
And then DJ Devastator, like having two DJs was like, what? Like the dudes we knew with two DJs was Ice-T. Okay. He had Evil E and he had Africa Islam. And then you had Dougie Fresh. He had Chill Will and Barry B. It's like, do you know how nice you have to be to have two DJs?
Yeah.
And then like later on, like LL Cool J had Cut Creator and Bobcat. Okay. You know, and then MC Hammer had DJ the Lone Mixer and DJ Redeem.
We gonna shit on MC Hammer.
But because MC Hammer had such a big show that he needed two DJs. But it's wild because like you had to be somebody with stature to have two DJs.
So when you see two DJs set up, you was like, this shit
about to be crazy.
Yeah, this nigga got it.
Yeah.
Pay attention, nigga.
Yeah. Because like back in the days, the early crews with two DJs was like DJ Baron and DJ Breakout. You know, and like Baron and Breakout they were part of like one of the all-time great rap crews. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was two DJs was like
that is fire.
The mark. But like there were a lot of early Boston rap groups, you know, that made headway, but you know, and Gangstar again was signed, and then in '88, you know, they put out their last single as Gangstar. The rest of Gangstar, all the Boston dudes from Gangstar came back to Boston.
Yeah.
Without Keith.
That was what's Dog's name? He's still around here. Big Suge, is that his name?
Well, no, Suge was locked up at the
What's
time.
the name of that record? There was a bunch of them niggas on it. Homecoming or
you talking about Home?
Home?
That was something else. That was on the compilation. Yeah. But what happened with Gangstar was you had a Gangstar Posse. So Gangstar Posse, they had songs like Girls, Read the Label, and they were recording in Boston. But Gangstar was recording in New York because what happened was Keith the E, the MC, and then Guru, Gifted Unlimited Rhymes Universal, became the name he switched to later. Yeah. And there was DJ Premier, who was also on Wild Pitch, but he was in another group with a dude from Boston named Top Cat.
Is Premier from Boston?
Nah, he's from Texas.
Okay. He's from Texas.
Yeah,
he's from Texas. He's from Houston, Texas. Yeah. So at Prairie View A&M, another dude from Boston named Top Cat met him.
Okay.
And they started a group. And then they came to New York. And Top Cat was like, there's nothing going on with Wild Pitch, man. I'm joining the armed forces. So he left. So Premier was by himself and Guru was by himself. And he was like, yo, why don't we just get together and record as Gangstar?
Right.
And they released a single. It did okay. And then finally Stu Fine, who owned the label, came up to him and was like, put out an album. So they did an album in like 2 weeks and they put it out. It's coming up on like the 35th anniversary of the album coming out. So it came out in February '89.
You know what I learned, man? Guru's pops.
Harry Elam, yeah.
What's his last name?
Harry Elam.
Elam. I could look it up. The nigga's the first black judge in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Really? Wow.
Yeah.
If you go to the Embrace.
Yeah, he's on the statue, him and his wife.
Yeah, if you go and look down. Like Harry and Barbara Elam.
She was a teacher or a librarian in the Boston Public Library. And so they were big ass people. So like when I hear Guru and I think like when they was hearing him rap, they was like, man, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
did you know Guru?
I knew him later.
Okay.
Like at the time he was rapping and doing stuff like, let's put it this way. When Gangstar went on Lecco's Lemon 86, I was listening.
Okay.
I was listening to the show. But like I didn't know him. I was like a kid. Right. So I didn't know him. But like, you know, Ed O.G. and all those other guys all knew him.
Right.
So when he went off to New York and started his career, whatever, like the day he left for New York, Ed told me I was there. I was in the basement and everybody was seeing him off. You know? And like if you go to the I Gotta Have It video and watch it, they filmed that in what was then Dudley Square, and you'll see Guru and Premier who were in Boston to promote that album that was coming out. Their second album coming out, and they're doing the dance. I Gotta Have It right there. So like
doing that shit.
Yeah, man.
I just thought to myself, like, Guru didn't even try to be like, I'm about to do a bunch, you know, like start a hit. That nigga was like, I'm over there. And I just thought like he had to get the image changed, like because like Boston was. I felt like it was. He had to do it for a reason. Like he didn't just up and go because he's like, you know, this image is perfect for me. Like here, like he had.
Well, here's the problem. Think about black culture and think about where Boston lies in black culture. If you're a record label and you're trying to sell an artist, you're trying to sell a group to black folks. If you're from Detroit, you can sell that. If you're from Brooklyn, if you're from Harlem, if you're from Queens, you can sell that.
Yeah.
All right? If you're from...
What about Roxbury?
But see, that's the thing.
But they don't know.
Nobody back then. Nobody knew Roxbury existed.
I know, but you
All right?
start somewhere though.
Yeah, but see, that had to happen
This
later.
is before the internet.
But see, that had to happen. That had to happen later, right?
Like, cause you mentioned Ed OG. Sorry to thing, but you mentioned Ed OG, and you gotta have it. He mentioned Roxbury.
well, see, that's what started it. He was the first dude to come out and say, like, the Bulldogs, Roxbury, and Boston is what I
mentioned
represent.
Adidas, nigga.
And yeah, you can take Adidas, but you can't buy your life back. But here's the thing, right? That was huge because everybody recited those words.
Right.
That shit become a #1 rap hit in the nation and internationally.
Wow.
All right? It wasn't just a hit here. All right? If you go back and look at footage of like Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang Clan is rapping over I Gotta Have It as the instrumental.
Wow.
Everybody loved I Gotta Have It. Like when Jay-Z tweeted, he tweeted, you know, about Ed OG. You know what I'm saying? Be a father to your child and I Gotta Have It. Like that gives you an idea how big that album was in 1991 and how important it was for him to put Boston on the map. Although the people that really did it for the city and the region, almighty RSO.
Yeah.
If you came to this city,
that.
if you came to this town, you knew who RSO was.
Or you was finna get robbed.
I heard the industry feared RSO on
Of course
a
they
whole
did.
nother level.
Of course they did.
And because I have a brother your age, like he tells me a lot of the times, he's like, bro, going out, if you knew that them RSO cats was in there, be careful what girl you talking to. You know what I mean? Because it might turn into a situation.
I mean, if you talk about it in that way, right? Think about when people talk about being in New York at different clubs.
Right.
Whether you're talking about the Rooftop, whether you're talking about Latin Quarter, whether you're talking about whatever. They always tell stories like this. A certain song comes on, everybody gets their chain snatched, you know? Or all the dudes from Brooklyn come and bum rush the door. Or it's always that story. So Boston, and we're talking about the crack era.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're talking about Delaware. There are stories like that.
Right.
Washington, D.C., they used to call it D.C. D.C. doesn't stand for Dodge City.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't even know there was niggas in Delaware.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Dover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to Morgan State University, and that's a black college, and there are 2 HBCUs, I believe, in Delaware.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
So you learn immediately. You learn early, right? So, and like there were these type of stories everywhere. But like what happened was a lot of people came to Massachusetts or Boston and thought shit was sweet. And then they realized, oh my God.
These niggas is crazy.
Yo, because we didn't exist. We were like Smurfs or Snorks. You know, we were imaginary creatures. We were mythical beings.
Right.
You know, but when you come to Boston, you experience the shit that you would experience in any other black city in America.
Right.
Yeah.
Immediately it snaps you back. You know, like the stories of like God and the New York boys when they were setting up shop and they showed up wearing Yankee gear and wearing Uptowns.
Right.
And motherfuckers would beat them up, smack the Yankee caps off their head, take the sneakers off and throw them in the Adidas tree, right? Because they weren't wearing Adidas. Like, you couldn't go back home to New York and say, yo, these dudes in Roxbury and Dorchester did this. Like, who? What? You let dudes in Boston do that to you? So you had to build up. It took years to get there, you know, because
Took lots of robberies.
And then RSO shift that culture.
they were the people that let you know that
It wasn't sweet, nigga.
Yes,
Styles
Boston-
P tells a story about how they were at the Garden and they got into a knife fight.
Were you at the Garden that night?
Well, there's
That night?
there's multiple versions
Of that story. Yeah.
And the reason why there are multiple versions is because everybody tells the story from their individual perspective. And there are details that everybody has, and there are details that are missing. You got to take 3 of them stories and smash them together to get the full story of what happened that night. But yes, it did start with I think everybody can agree with it started with DMX was fucking with a girl.
Okay.
That ended up choosing one of the dudes from Boston
Okay.
that were down with Made Men, RSO, Legion of Doom, etc., etc., etc. That caused a problem. And then it went from there.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, one of my cousins is Antonio and Marco Ennis of Antonio and Soul the Gear.
Stop snitching, nigga.
The Stop Snitching Gear, which he made with his other cousin Tane the Juice.
Okay.
Also of like Almighty RSO later.
Right,
and then
right.
like, Made Men and all that, right?
So you talking about E Devious?
Yes.
Okay.
He was originally
That's your cousin?
Emo E Devious, yes.
Oh, shit.
So he's my cousin.
Shout out E Devious.
So on one side, that's
really
my
Honduran.
cousin. Yeah, he's Honduran. So on one side, that's my cousin. On the other side, I don't know if you know Danger, who's from the MIC.
Yeah. I heard of him.
That's
I
my
don't know.
cousin on the other side.
Okay.
All right?
All
That's my
right.
cousin on the same side as, my cousins Baron and Dion, being best
Okay.
friends with, so from Dorchester, other family from Roxbury, other family from the South End.
Yeah.
So I came up in this game because I knew everybody on both sides. My family was in it. And also Boston's the size of Shaq's left shoe.
Right.
So if there's anybody who is in the music industry or anything like that, you knew them.
Right.
Because, and also like a lot of the early people that started in rap, did rap production, all that other stuff, had the early record pools, were right there in Roxbury, right there in the South End. So everybody knew everybody.
Yeah.
And those early rap records, man, a lot of them were produced by Bostonians. Without Boston, there's no Planet Rock.
Wow.
Without Boston, there's no Tommy Boy.
Wow.
So
heard you say
like,
that before.
like a lot of stuff happened. Like the early days, if you go back, I have like pictures. The early days of Tommy Boy, the entire roster, damn near the in-house producers to the entire roster, everybody's from Boston.
I mean, damn, what is it? Berkeley? What is it? What is it? Like MIT? What is it? Like
Well, you have Berkeley you have Berkeley College of Music.
I want to know.
You have Berkeley College of Music. You have the
That whole block right there was a whole shit, right?
you have the Boston Conservatory of Music.
Yeah.
You have the New England Conservatory, which is right down the street. But aside from that, that whole stretch was nothing but jazz and funk clubs, where everybody used to play. And then there's nothing but schools.
I heard about
The
that.
jazz.
There's nothing but schools. And in all those schools, everybody used to just like perform and play and all over. And when the Johnsons were originally from Florida.
Okay.
The Johnsons arrived in Roxbury in the 70s. And they were like, oh, okay.
Niggas got skills here.
Yeah. They were like, oh, okay. Yeah. I could do this.
Yeah.
Because Boston is home of funk players
That's
and
fire.
soul R&B groups, right? So I've told stories, like you can go on other
Multiple times,
podcasts
yeah,
or
we
whatever
know.
and run down the story of all these groups. But that's all I knew growing up. And you couldn't go to a park. You couldn't go in a hallway. You couldn't go anywhere without a bunch of motherfuckers rehearsing, doing
shit.
steps.
Excuse me, nigga. I gotta catch that train.
Yeah, on the train platform.
Was you on that?
Huh?
Was you on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the thing was, it was the entire culture. You're playing basketball, you're doing that.
Yeah.
And like the thing was that sometimes somebody be doing something like, oh damn, I gotta go home. Step in, jump in and do the routine.
Everybody knew this shit.
Yeah, and like my
Playing
brother
basketball all day.
yeah, like
Fuck.
my older brother, he had groups, everybody. It was like the culture of the city. Everybody was involved.
Yeah.
So, I was too. Absolutely.
So
That's fine.
would you say, like, from everything you say, you've seen, from your before journalism, your start in journalism, what would you say is your favorite era of rap in Boston?
Overall, my favorite era of rap in Boston overall has to definitely be between 1995 and like 2000 maybe.
Okay.
Because what happens is this is the era of people start making their own record labels.
Right.
People start pressing up their own stuff, disc makers, putting out their stuff independently. People start driving down to the radio station or going to the radio station themselves. People on Newbury Street, down Boylston Street, down Mass Ave that pick a train station, Orange Line, Red Line, what have you, downtown crossing, battling each other, selling stuff hand to hand, being at battles, going to different venues. And that's when the underground really took over, because what you have to remember is that I told the story, man. There were so many Boston rap acts that got signed by majors between like 1989 all the way up through like the early 90s, right? And none of them made real headway except for Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs. And when their second album came out, they didn't have a big single or big singles like off the first album.
Right.
And Ed was just like, this shit don't make sense. I might as well just go independent. So he gets Scientific, he starts helping Scientific out with his career. Scientific puts out As Long As You Know, Jungles of the East, puts out his own stuff, and then like from 95 on, it's just like Concrete Click, 7L and Esoteric back, like everybody starts getting big. And then 96, 97, that's when the underground really explodes in Boston. That's my favorite era, because it was very diverse and people were in charge of their own careers and they were dictating their own path, as opposed to, I'm going to get signed to a major, I'm not going to get a video. My single's going to come out on white label. And then people going to be like, yo, where's your record?
God damn it, nigga.
Like, because again, I've told the story, man. Like, we had a group called Juice with Soul. They got signed to Atlantic. They had a single, Gang Lingo, with Lieutenant Stitchie on the hook. Back when, like, this is when reggae and rap, was like hot.
Right. That's
They
early
didn't
90s.
get 93. Didn't even get a video.
Wow.
Didn't get a video. Album came out, Body Armor. You could barely find it in stores. And then like Joint Venture, they come out, they get one video. It's The Joint. Fly Tie gets killed February 94.
Yeah.
So that's the end of that run.
Damn.
There were so many Boston rap groups, so many Boston acts. You had Tam Tam got signed in 90, 91. She puts out her album, Do It, Tam Tam, Do It. Go look up that video. They had her in spandex with the head mic like Madonna doing the Running Man.
Paula Abdul type shit.
with a live band playing in the back, like trying to get her to cross over. That was always the story of Boston acts, right? So 95 to 2000 is when the underground pops off and people start being in charge of their narrative and their career and saying whatever they want to, putting out the songs they want, picking side A and side B.
Yeah.
And, that's when people started making noise. And they're not just making noise here. Overseas, in Europe, they're hot. They're big, and they make classic records. Like, you go on YouTube and type in, like, T-Max Executioner Style. You're going to find that. But if I tell you some record that a Boston act made back in 1992, 93, 94, you're going to have to go on Discogs looking that shit up.
Right.
Nobody remembers that.
So, Benzino, right?
Ray Dog,
right? Almighty RSO becomes Made Man, and then he goes solo. He does his own thing, right?
Yeah.
You've seen his whole career project from the beginning to, what it is now. How big was he really in Boston? Like,
okay, so
like what was he received like?
I'll get. I know what you're getting at. Here's the thing. Almighty RSO were Boston's premier rap group.
Yeah.
The leader, the head of Almighty RSO, was Ray Dog.
Yeah.
Some of the earliest Boston rap records came out on Boot Records. They're red. Almighty RSO, Greatest Show on Earth, We'll Remember You. We're Notorious, which is one of the all-time great Boston 12s. It's everybody, in all their Adidas suits with the guns and the Adidas, and you see this what was then Boston skyline.
Right.
So at that time, he was the man. He was the guy. He was like, his name is under executive producer.
Right.
He's speaking on the records. You know, the dudes in Almighty RSO were Ray Dog and Def Jeff. Now Jeff 2 times.
Shout out 2 times.
All right?
That's my guy.
Those were the guys.
Yeah.
Okay? Because he's the DJ.
Mm-hmm.
He's entering like the battle for world supremacy, you know? Yeah. And it was Ray, because Ray was the front man of Almighty RSO.
Right.
I don't call that motherfucker Benzino. I know him as Ray. I understand why people call him that. He's
35,
Ray.
He's Benzino.
I'm 48, going on 49.
Ray.
He's Ray.
I call that nigga Ray.
Okay, because I don't. Because,
Mama call him Ray.
Because no. Because the important thing to understand is that where things got twisted is when he became more and more involved in the source. He realized he had leverage, and when the Made Men thing kind of died down after they put out their album Classic Limited Edition, right? He was like, okay, I want to be the dude, because Ed OG beat him to it.
Right.
With I Gotta Have It.
Yeah.
He wanted to be the dude. Ray really wanted to be the dude to put Boston on the map and make the definitive Boston classic record. The only reason Guru didn't do it is because by the time Guru was in Gangstar and Gangstar was making noise, they were seen as a Brooklyn rap group.
Facts.
Okay? But in Ray's head, it was always Keith was the first dude to become kind of big, and then it was Ed. So now I have to be the guy. So he figured the way to do it is I go solo. I leverage all the stuff I have from the source. You know, I get a deal. And I'm going to put out my project. And also the big thing was Hangman 3. We don't talk about Hangman 3 nearly enough, right? Hangman 3 was him, JB, rest in peace, and Jeff 2 times. And what ends up happening is this ends up being more Jeff and JB. You know, and Ray being like the figurehead guy.
Okay.
But they got a lot of big placements and stuff like that. And it was supposed to be him, the guy.
Yeah.
And Ray kind of had a deficiency in terms of lyrics and appeal, but he thought that I got the beats, I got the notoriety,
I got the clout.
I got the clout, I got the source.
Yeah.
So I can leverage all this and I can become the guy.
Right.
And he kept trying to do that.
Right.
At the expense of the Source magazine, at the expense of other people in Boston, at the expense of Boston's reputation. Because it got to be a point where when Ray would go out and do something in the name of trying to like be the guy, it would throw dirt on Boston and our reputation.
Because of his lyrical inability?
Well, because of the shit he did, period.
Okay.
I was
Like,
getting
it was a bad idea. Okay, and also the other part of it was you had the Source magazine, right? And you had everybody, there was an exodus from the Source Mind Squad. And one of the people was Elliot Wilson.
Yeah.
And when Elliot Wilson left the Source, he went over to XXL, and all he cared about was destroying the Source.
Right.
So
That was
I'm
his
gonna,
mission.
my mission is to destroy the Source. I want to outsell the Source. I want to have bigger covers in the Source. I want to have everybody talking about us and fuck the Source.
Yeah.
Now, Ray was kind of destroying the Source from the inside. Internally, because the Source, when John Schechter was there, it was the highest journalistic integrity in terms of rap coverage.
Right.
They had the original Mind Squad there.
Right. Yeah.
And it was, if you want to be a rap writer, you aspired. There was rap pages existed, but the gold and platinum standard was the Source.
The Source, right.
And once they did the Almighty RSO 3-page spread in that issue with the Source, and Dave Mays and everybody else, Dave Mays just like stood there and let it happen, but John Schechter and everybody else was just like, yo, no, we're not accepting this shit, we're out.
Yeah.
The Source started regressing from 94, 95, 96, but it was still big. But from 97 on, it plunged.
That's crazy.
And Ray was like, okay, But this is when the source is at its peak because this starts the Source Sound Lab.
Right.
You know, has a source, and then he has Surrender Records. So he's leveraging all this stuff. And he's like, all right, I'll tell my label, I'll put full page ads in the source. You know, I'll just give them advertising. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll do this. And it got to the point where people couldn't even get their checks were bouncing at the source because Ray was leveraging so many things for his career. And then Ray made a mistake of going against Interscope's, which was a machine. Interscope, Aftermath, Shady, G Unit.
Yeah.
Everybody hot is on these three labels. All right? And what did Elliot Wilson do? He turned XXL. You know how Oprah's on the cover every he turned XXL into fucking Interscope magazine.
Yeah, facts. And they was all over that shit.
Yeah. And he wrote
what Eminem said on that shit. Fuck Source magazine. I got XXL's number anyway.
Yeah. Well, also originally he started out dissing XXL.
Really?
Because XXL, because XXL was making fun of him for something, and then all of a sudden Elliot Wilson comes over and that whole shit flips around, and now it's like G Unit Weekly, you know,
the source.
like you know, it's like fucking Shady Monthly. So Ray kept going at them. He's going at a fucking roster full of battle rappers, who are already hot, who have everybody on their side.
Yeah.
It's like being the fucking Miami Heat and trading for, you know, one dude that used to be a Celtic to try to beat the Celtics and then getting beat by 40, you know.
You're gonna trade for
They lost tonight.
They got beat by like 40.
Yeah.
Well, it was a second day of
Terry Rozier.
It was the second day of a back-to-back, but still, they got aired out. They got beat so bad that like dudes played 20 minutes and still scored in double digits.
Yeah, shout out to Boston, #1 in the league. Yeah.
But like that's pretty much what happened. He put himself in a bad situation. What happened was he put Boston in a bad light. So we spent years trying to dig out from that reputation. When Eminem said the mean streets of Boston, do you know how long it took? You know how long it took for us to get back from that?
Right.
So that's ultimately what happened. But here's the thing. You can't tell the story of Boston rap without him.
That's a fact.
You can't.
Yeah.
It's impossible. If I was doing a documentary today and I was talking about Boston rap, the history of Boston rap, I'd have to interview him. I'd have to talk to him because he was around.
Very instrumental
in the early days, and also the reason people even knew black folks were in Boston or knew to fear them or knew, oh, these motherfuckers wear Adidas or they're going to be doing this, they're going to call you dog, was because of Ray Dog.
All right, I want to ask two more questions about that era, right? Before we move on to the next joke. The Adidas tree. Talk to me about that.
Well, we got to talk about Boston's Adidas culture, period. But the Adidas tree was in Adidas Park, okay?
And where was that?
Adidas Park is in Dorchester.
Okay.
So you have IVP, which is Intervale Posse.
Facts.
Yeah.
On their territory, they carved out a space and called it Adidas Park.
Okay.
And in Adidas Park, they created the Adidas tree. That tree had a whole bunch of Adidas in it going back. And the feds came and destroyed Adidas Park in 1996.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Why? What was their reasoning behind that?
Niggas was congregating.
That too. But also, Intervale Posse was one of the most notorious
that part
gangs, period. But the the feds destroyed Adidas Park and tore down the Adidas tree. Now you can find footage of Adidas tree now and
there's an interview they got of them and they show the tree.
Yeah. But there's a whole bunch, if you go on YouTube, there's a whole bunch of B-roll of the Adidas tree. And also if you've seen Trial 4. They have B-roll of the Adidas tree in Trial 4. There's also in the series I was in HBO. There's also B-roll footage of the Adidas tree.
Yeah.
But now people coming forth with pictures of Adidas tree. For the longest, we didn't have any. And my cousin actually wanted to make a hoodie with the Adidas tree, and he was going to have to draw it from memory. That's how long ago this was. He was like, I don't have any pictures of it. I don't have the images of it. I'm going to draw that shit from memory.
That's wild.
And now we don't have to do that. Yeah. But Boston had a unique Adidas culture going back to probably the 1979, but it really exploded in 86 after Run DMC made My Adidas. And when God and the New York boys came, it was like, how do we tell ourselves from the New York dudes? What do we have that's different? We have our Adidas culture, wearing Adidas everything, the 3-finger dap, so all of that became, really inflated.
But that's interesting because Run DMC is from New York.
Yeah.
Right? So
they're from Queens.
So why did we adopt the Adidas thing? Like,
have you ever heard of the Mizels?
I can't say that I have.
The Mizels is Jam Master Jay's family, and they are Mizels in Boston.
Okay.
Let's put it this way. When Run DMC did a show in Boston, it was like a home. They might as well have been at home. There's a dude named Sut. He was in the Floor Lords.
Okay.
He had this chain that had an Adidas emblem on it. And he had another one. There was an Adidas sneaker, a gold Adidas sneaker. And Jam Master Jay used to go to Sut and be like, yo, can I rock your joint on stage?
Oh, shit.
And to give you an idea how big Adidas culture was in Boston, and then there's this other thing too. Cream black Adidas. Cream black, the hoodie, the hat, the Boston, the B hat, black B hat with cream.
Yeah.
And you had to have white and black Adidas. Or if you could dye them cream. That was a big thing.
Oh, shit.
And to the point where back in 1989 when Bobby Brown came back to Boston, he did an interview. He came with this ill Adidas chain that was cream and black. And then recently, if you go look it up, there's Ralph Tresvant. He did this thing where he wore a cream and black Adidas hoodie, cream and black Adidas track pants, cream and black Adidas Adidas, and a cream hat with a black B on it. And people were like, interesting, but everybody in Roxbury got it.
Yeah.
These are unique things from Boston culture. Like right now, I'm wearing Adidas right now, but I'm wearing you can't find these. You can't find these joints. These joints are dead stock from 2017.
Okay.
Because the new Adidas are all ugly. So I go on eBay, I go everywhere, and I buy dead stock Adidas from 2015, 2016, 2017.
You like
2018.
You like the Yeezys? Oh,
Fuck Yeezys. Fuck Kanye. Fuck Yeezys.
Wow. Wow.
They're ugly.
Okay.
They're ugly as hell.
Not
and also,
all of them.
yes.
I got
Some of them
Yeezys,
are ugly.
man. I got some
Yeezys are ugly as
fire-ass
fuck.
Yeezys, man.
But yeah, man. So
Okay.
Adidas culture is really big in Boston. You had stores like Alpha and Omega. You had Crystals downtown.
Come on.
You had Mickey Finn's.
Let's go.
You had Harry the Greeks.
Let's go.
Harry the Greeks.
Yeah.
So and then later on you had Hip Zeppy. You had Coquettes. You had
Yeah.
Manhattans.
Yeah.
But Adidas culture was to the point where if you went to Downtown Crossing or you were in any store in
On the
Roxbury,
42nd Street in Mattapan.
Okay.
Come on. Yeah, you don't be fucking with Mattapan.
Yeah,
Come on,
Mattapan's a lot of trains. Yeah, it's a lot of trains. and I don't drive. I walk. So and you would go to a storefront, and if you didn't see an Adidas logo and Adidas in the storefront, people would not go in your store.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's fire.
That's wild.
When I worked at Hip Zeppy, we had a sign that says, "This ain't Uptown. This is Beantown. We only rock B's and 3s." We put that in the window, and that was in the window forever.
That's fucking fire.
All right, so I know you had some questions you wanted to ask, bro.
I forgot now.
Oh, goddamn.
I feel like we went through
let's
them.
move from that era, right?
Yeah.
Benzino. That
Ray
was
Dog.
Same person. We move on. Let's talk about now,
Okay.
right? How invested are you in the Boston rap scene now?
I'm 48 going on 49.
Okay.
So let's put it like this. When I started writing in journalism in that whole space, between 2005, 2006, that's when I started being involved in the Boston scene and stuff like that.
Okay.
Then when I showed my face in 2010, I was immersed in it. If you were somebody that was coming up, you could find me, you could talk to me. I don't care if it's Av. I don't care if it's
Shout out, my nigga.
I don't care if it's Avenue. I don't care if we're talking about somebody who was around at the time, Alaj, Millie's, any of them. Everybody knew me, could find me, and talk to me about anything, right? So I was immersed in it from there. and like the new generation of cats were coming up when they started like 12 for 12.
Yeah.
I was always either at Laced, I was always at Bodega,
Yeah.
I was always at every event.
Okay.
So all them cats knew me, even like Stiz
Yeah.
and like all them other cats. Like I was always around Mike Christmas,
Mike
all them
Chris,
dudes,
yeah, that's fine.
everybody.
Nick Gray,
You could
Hefe
all
Replay, all
Yeah,
those
yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Replay was my dude.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
All right.
Replay was my dude. Replay was from Orchard Park, from OP. So
Yeah.
we had family. He knew
I
my
know his
family and stuff
pops.
like that.
Yeah.
We had family, and plus he played ball.
Yeah.
So we had that in common. So we were always, and it was funny because I would see Replay at the most randomest times. I'd be on Newberry Street just hanging out. That motherfucker would just pull up out of nowhere. Like I'd just be standing up, I look up and I see a Ask for Juan sticker. And he'd come up next to me like, oh shit, I forgot I put that over here. That shit up there high. You wonder how I did that shit, right? Yeah. All right, dog, see you. You know? And like,
Dude was elusive like that.
yeah,
That's
but
crazy.
when I started doing stuff with for Boston, and then later like the label, and then now Boston Legends,
Right.
he was involved in the campaign. You know, when we put out the Reggie Lewis joint, it was like, we need you in this Reggie Lewis joint. We had Ab, it was like, Ab, we need you in this Kyrie Irving's Pops, Dedrick Irvin. We need you in this Dedrick Irvin joint.
Right.
You know, we had who else did we have wearing that joint?
Was it Oompa? Was Oompa on there?
No, Oompa. It wasn't
That was
Oompa yet.
later.
And also, when Oompa got discovered, I was there when Oompa was discovered.
Yeah.
It was me, Acrobatic, and
Shout out Acrobatic.
It was me, Acrobatic, and of course my other cousin, Mike Merrin.
Okay.
Mark Merrin.
Mark Merrin.
Mark Merrin.
Yeah, people- yeah,
He's
wow.
family. Mark Merrin's
Shout out
family.
Mark Merrin.
So
Everybody, I'm your cousin.
yeah. The joke is I'm related to every
Yeah.
fourth brown person in
On
Massachusetts.
Dead Dogs.
Yeah.
Right. So
8 of us
I
in
was always really immersed in everything. Like the reason why they started having the state of Boston, Massachusetts hip hop is quite literally because back 10 years ago, me and Tim LaRue were arguing on Twitter back and forth. And then finally what happened was there was a radio station in BU. It was WTBU or something. And they were like, yo, why don't y'all have that conversation on the air? So it was me, Brandon, it was Tim, it was Guillermo, who was also at BU, the BU hip hop. Everybody
That's dope.
packed in the station, and we had to talk. And then we had it every year. And the last time I was involved was 2019.
Wow.
And I was just like, and by that time, it was like, they didn't need me.
Right.
You know, I was like, because I was writing books. I'm off doing this. I'm writing
Right.
for Boston Magazine, Boston Globe about fucking history and stuff like that.
You
So-
in the Murders for Boston documentary,
yeah,
man.
so like so if you're in a scene and you're a certain age and you've been around for a while, you know who I am.
Right.
Yeah.
But the young cats, they don't necessarily need me for anything. You know, like
That's true.
like if I was around, if you were getting busy in 18, 19, yeah, before the pandemic, afterwards, none of them cats, like I'm not important. Like I'm not somebody you have to go through for validation.
This is true,
Nah,
but
it's not about validation.
But I don't think it's about validation at this point. I think it's just about knowing what the fuck
It's
happened.
recognition.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
like,
but also
so-
is that you have to think about that too. Is that always important?
Well, do you do your research?
Well,
like,
yes
Do
and
you do
no.
research? Right, you do research, right?
That's what I
So
do.
then, when you find somebody that surprises you with new information, you want to give them credit. You want to be like, "Yo, shout out to you for finding this out and doing that." You know what I'm saying? And that's what motherfuckers lack.
Well,
Yeah.
and also just people understanding like the fuck you came from, bro.
I mean,
Like,
yeah,
right?
but here's the thing: you have to value that, and also like for every generation, you're not born with the knowledge that happened before you got on this planet,
No.
right?
Right.
And so the thing is that everybody comes up there like, we're gonna put Boston on the map. We're gonna put Boston on the map. We're gonna put Boston on the map. I'm like, Boston been on the map. Boston, the map was created in Boston. Without Boston, there's no map.
Speak on that.
Let's
So,
go.
so like that's one thing, but also it's like, is that relevant to you? Does that matter to you? And that's not the case for everybody. For a lot of people, they need to take everything old and destroy it so that they can make something new and forge their own way. Otherwise, nothing happens. For other people, they need inspiration from the past in order to realize we're not the only ones that did this,
Yeah.
and we're part of a lineage. You know,
Facts.
so everybody's path ain't the same, and also like the thing about rap was when we were coming up was that there was no past. So it was old nigga get out the way. We're the new dudes. We're going to end your career. It was Young Lions
Nigga,
eat
can
the
you
old
break
li-
dance, nigga?
Yeah,
Can you break
so
dance?
it was Young Lions. It was Young Lions killed the old Lions.
Yeah.
And then we got to a point where that's no longer the case. Because none of y'all gonna be able to kill Black Thought. You know what I'm saying? None of y'all gonna be able to get Royce the 5'9" out of here.
Yeah.
None of y'all gonna be able to get some Pharoah Monch out of here.
Nas.
Like Nas, like you pry this mic from my cold dead hand.
Yeah, on Dead Dogs.
You know, so but also everything's very different than how it used to be. I was telling you that there was a time where we couldn't imagine there being 30-year-old rappers, and when we did have
Right.
30-year-old rappers, they didn't tell anybody their age.
They got him the fuck out
Chuck
of here.
Chuck D, and Ice-T were 30 in secret.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
When they turned 30,
Yeah.
nobody knew. Matter of fact, I'll tell you this much.
Nigga became a cop on TV.
Let me tell you something. When Jay-Z turned 30, he had his birthday and didn't tell anybody how old he was. I think it was 1998.
He just started wearing button downs.
Because LL didn't turn 30 until 98. LL was 6 albums deep and 14 years into his career.
30 is crazy in rap.
But it was. Now it isn't. Scarface turned 30 in 2002, right? Wow. And he just had a like
Oh, two.
yeah. So like you have to
12.
yeah, you have to keep these things in mind, right? When things started changing, you have to move things back because you're no longer getting old dudes out the game. Because I was telling you in the car too that back in the days when Curtis Blow was just approaching 30, they were pushing this motherfucker out the door because he was producing for 16-year-olds. The Fat Boys were like 15 and 16.
Yeah, he had a solid 3
Yo,
years.
so is that because hip hop is so young?
Well,
because rock don't do that, and motherfuckers.
Here's the difference with rock versus rap, and we're talking about eras in rap. Rap has golden eras, and rap has different things where if you put out an album in 1991, it was the shit. If you come out in 94, no one gives a fuck that you're breathing. That's not necessarily the case for every other genre, you know? And things evolve. Like, there's equipment that people were using in 86, 87 to make a record that by the time we get to 89, 90 is outdated.
Yeah,
You know, nobody's using the Lindrum anymore.
right.
So if your beat sounds tick, 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 get the fuck out of here. We're sampling now. You know, we're chopping these samples now. We're doing this with that. Do you hear what this kid Rakim is doing? Do you hear what this dude's doing? Do you hear what Tretch is doing? You know, you hear what Lord Finesse is doing rapping? You hear what like
So your shit is old,
yeah,
partner.
yeah, like what Poor Righteous Teachers, you know, like Wise Intelligent. You hear what these dudes are doing or what these people are doing rapping. You can't compete with that. Busy B put out Suicide in like 88. Suicide. Yeah. You know, and like that was his last like big hit record. But he wasn't gonna be able to go toe to toe with Cool G Rap or Big Daddy Kane. None of them dudes. They would have mopped the floor with them, you know? But you still had Melly Mel still trying to go at them dudes. But when he started doing that, people were like, man, we ain't trying to hear you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You were my mom's favorite rapper.
Yeah,
So that's not the case anymore. You know? So the genre's changed. And like, yeah, this didn't happen in rock, but people talk about people are critical in rap and blah, blah, blah. We got that from rock. Rock journalism, rock writers, rock period was always more critical, always going at each other, always trying to destroy each other. And people think that that's just something that happened in rap. No. Shit, that was jazz. You know? So, so a lot of things that rap gets credited for and pushed on is bullshit. It's a bullshit narrative.
I'm with you.
What excites you about rap now?
I mean, the same thing excited me about rap at any time. Because to me, art is art, culture is culture. I didn't stop liking movies. I ain't stopped liking literature. I ain't stopped liking music. You know, you don't grow out of art. You don't grow out of great art. You either do things at a high level or be great at it. If you can't appreciate that, so what the fuck are you still breathing for? Like, how do you not? And also, you have to want for things to be great. You have to have a standard. You have to have a spine. You know, you have to want something to be here. And then be like, nah, that ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it. And want for people to be better and want for things to be better. Because if you don't, you have no fucking taste. You know, you don't have any standards.
Tasteless niggas.
And the thing is that, like, that's not important for everybody. For me, I live by it. So there's never been a time when I'm like, man, rap, this shit is trash, it's uninspiring. Go find the shit that's inspiring. It's there. Do the fucking work. The thing is that people want things to be spoon-fed to them like it was back in the day. I try to explain this to people all the time. We had Yo MTV Raps. We had Rap City.
Yeah.
We had mixtapes. We had mixed shows.
Yep.
We had, Boston had 5-6 college radio shows. We had Rap Explosion. We had the Street Beat Show. We had the Dope Jam Show. We had 88.9 at night. All we had to do was turn on the radio to a dial, pop a tape in, record, turn to the next dial, turn to the next dial, turn to the next dial.
Piracy.
You go on BT, it's right there in your face. You go to the store, there's a rap section.
But we in the internet era now, man.
Well, see, that's the thing. That just opened us up to more.
Yeah.
Because when you had the internet, you had undergroundhiphop.com. You had Landspeed. You had, well, I'm talking about before that. I'm talking about like you had Sandbox Automatic. You had Hip Hop Site. And then you had Hip Hop Game. Then you had Dat Piff. Then you had like OK Player.
Hot new hip hop.
Yeah, you had all that. So everything was just presented to you. It was just like curated and bam, it's there for you. In the era of like SoundCloud and you make a playlist, it's not exactly that anymore, right? And if you're old and you want rap, I want the rap that I used to be excited about back in the day. You gotta go find that shit.
Fact.
You gotta go do work and find it. You know, there's still radio shows like, you know, Rap Is Out of Control still exist. There's still the same radio shows. There's still the podcast and all these other things. But you have to be attuned to that. Right. And also, when you get older, man, your life changes.
Right. Of course.
You know, you don't have the same, I got other shit to do.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
busy,
saying?
nigga.
I'm busy. I got kids. You know, I got a mortgage. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
say that
like,
shit again.
I got a budget. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have time to do that. And when you think about back in the days, the shit that made you excited, you were young.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you're at a different stage of life, you have to remember that, man. It's like, and also, it's like that same hit of dopamine ain't gonna hit you the same way now.
That's a fact.
You're not gonna be fucking 45 excited the same way you were when you were 18. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just have to recognize that when it's here and what it is, that, okay, I'm not gonna react to it the same way. It's like chasing the same high. It's not gonna be the same high when you first got it.
Yeah, I don't get high no more.
Your tolerance level has changed, and you have to realize it hit, but it's gonna hit different at this stage of your life. But I'm always gonna be excited. Like, if I wasn't, I wouldn't still be writing. I wouldn't be here.
I was gonna ask you that. What got you here? And thank you for being here.
For real, man.
But like, I see how we come off. Like, our shit is just, we for the bullshit all the time.
But here's the thing. That's the reason I'm here is because I spent a lot of time building up my whatever, so that I'm somebody that people respect. I'm where the fucking buck stops. People talk, ask Dart. I say it, okay, you heard him.
Yeah.
It's over.
Dead dogs.
I built that. So now I could do whatever the fuck I want with it.
Speak on that.
And there was a lot of times where like, I'm not going there. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Now I'm like, why not? Like, I'm at a stage now that I'm going to be on Showtime documentaries. I'm going to be on HBO documentaries.
That's good.
I'm working on people's books. I've helped people with books.
go.
If you're doing a film, I'm involved in that. And like, I've moved so far away from the days where I was like, I'm going to write about this album. I'm going to review this album. I don't need to do that shit no more. Like, and plus, it's like, it's
You
to
don't
the
even
point
care
where
anymore.
like, it's not so much that I don't care, but when Twitter democratized everybody's voice, you made your fucking decision. You live tweeted it. Why the fuck do you need to hear what I have to say about it?
Right.
If you want, hey yo, tell me about an album I don't know about. That's what I'm here for. Hey yo, explain to me this era of this. That's what I'm here for. You don't need me to explain to you art that you already like or don't like.
Right.
And then like, I have my stuff. I have what I like, but that not what I like and what hits me might not hit you.
Right.
And it might take you a while because I'm in a completely different stage of life and I'm looking for completely different things and have a completely different gauge and radar for what I'm looking for.
Right.
I'll tell you, I watched fucking Carlito's Way when I was young. And I was like, damn, they killed Carlito. Damn, they fucked Carlito up.
I ain't
man.
like the way he treated Benny anyway.
I watched Carlito's Way when I turned 25. Hey, yo, Carlito, he kind of fucked up.
He
got it
shitted
coming.
on Benny.
Yeah.
I watched Carlito's Way when I was 30. Carlito
That's
did
the
it all
story.
to himself.
Yeah.
At every point, people told Carlito he was fucking up, and he never listened.
That's
Nigga's
the
name is
story.
Pachanga.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Okay.
Yo, Pachanga's talking shit about you. Yo, Charlie, don't do this. Yo, Charlie, that kid was like you, never like me.
Right.
Hey, yo, I just want, yo, I just want to like, talk to you for a minute, talk to you. He fucking shrugs him
Yeah.
off.
He curves him. Yeah.
Now, there's a story that Nas tells. He talks about how somebody came to the studio, whatever, and Rakim was there, whatever, and Rakim was just like, I'm good. I just want to do what I do. And Nas was like, had Rakim been somebody who, helped people along and done something, he could have been involved in that guy's career early. But instead, what happened was he's like, okay, I want to be able to do my thing to the point where now Rakim recognizes me and he's a fan of me. Because for Rakim, that's how it was for him.
Yeah.
And Rakim wouldn't change things, wouldn't change stuff because that's how things were supposed to be. It's a canon event.
Yeah.
But for somebody like a Fat Joe, when a pun came around, or Big Moondog as he was known at the time with the Full Eclipse crew, he was like, come with me.
Right.
Ride with me. I'm going to bring you around everywhere. I'm going to take you. You're going to be my artist. I'm going to put you on. Everybody has a different path and everybody has a different destination, a different aim. When I was coming up and doing stuff, people would ask me for my opinion and stuff like that. And I thought about that scene in Carlito's Way when Benny Blanco was like, hey, yo, Carlito, I just want to talk to you. I just want to run some
me a
stuff by
second,
you.
yeah.
And Carlito was like, shut up, nigga.
outta here,
and what ends up happening is Benny Blanco
shot.
is the one that ends up shooting him and killing him.
You don't want to get shot trying to catch a train. I get that.
It's more about the idea is that you could nurture the next generation and you could build a relationship with them
Yeah.
and push things along, or you could have them fucking bury you.
Who do you think could do that here?
Huh?
Who do you think could do that here? Nurture this generation right now.
I mean, the people that are doing it are doing it. I mean, if you look at somebody like Mark Maron, right?
Yeah.
If you look at somebody like if you look at what like Alcide did,
Shout
you know
out
what
Alcide.
what DJ Alcide did.
Yeah.
If you look at what Keith did, if you look at what Reggie, the famous Nobodies, what all those dudes did. If you look at what Homie did with damn, what was the name of that shit that he that thing he used to do? It's like everybody came up through it. I'm talking about Latrell James. I'm talking about like all these people came up through like every like
12
motive.
12? No.
Well, 12 for 12 too, but Mind Spray.
Okay.
Mind Spray. All these things were important because it got people on the stage, it got people to hone their craft, it got people to build up their like what works, what doesn't, you know, and then get to the point where like now they're staples in the game and they're nice, you know. Oompa showed up one night because her friends was just like, yo, they're doing this event, won't you come out? And she tore that shit down, and look at Oomp now.
She everywhere.
Yeah. And that happened because her friends were like, yo, just come out to this event. And we were like, where the fuck you been?
Right.
And she was like, Roxbury, you know? So, I mean, there's always people that are going to like push things forward and like nurture that next generation. They're out there. And some of them wish they could, but they just don't have the resources. I mean, you have things like the record company now, right?
Yeah.
Like
Non-profits.
you have this, like you have
Sound Lab.
You have Sound Lab.
Yeah.
You have so many different outlets that didn't necessarily exist back in the day. And that's why we have so much talent. And we have so much talent on different levels, doing different kinds of music and making shit for different kinds of people in different spaces. Whereas we only wanted to highlight the people over here doing this at one point. Like, that's all we have. And you can't do that anymore.
Fair enough. So, all right, last question. What's next for Dar Adams, man?
Trying to get people in the world of publishing to value stories about Black Boston and Black Massachusetts. And if I got to drag these motherfuckers over the finish line kicking and screaming, I'm going to do it. And if I have to trick them into doing it, I'll do it. And so what you have to do is you have to realize that the publishing world is overwhelmingly white.
We know that.
The world of publishing is 3% Black. And that means that we're talking about the people who make the books, the people who pick what books are next, and the people that have the authority to pick the next book.
Right.
So I'm constantly fighting this uphill battle. So it's about books. It's about documentaries.
I fuck with books.
It's about getting into the world of academia.
Okay.
So like one of the things I do too is I teach classes for I don't know if you're familiar with Mickey Fax is doing with Chilla Jones.
Pendulum
Inc.
Pendulum Inc.
I teach at Pendulum Inc.
Okay.
So I taught a class called the evolution. What was it? The evolution of the classic album.
Okay.
Like the classic album, the evolution of the classic album last year, and this year I'm doing the evolution of the diss record or the diss track.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do a class about
like
that.
that.
You using Ether?
It's gonna be mentioned.
Hit him up.
Well, it's gonna be mentioned.
Don't let this nigga.
Because the thing about
No
the
Vaseline.
it's definitely gonna be mentioned. Right? So like the evolution of the diss track, where I talk about the early days of how the diss track, how the diss record came into being, and case studies of the best ones. You know, and breaking it all down, because I'm doing this class for MCs, I'm doing this people for aficionados of rap and everybody who loves rap history. So that's what I'm doing. And also I'm trying to get into like Berklee College of Music, MIT, Harvard, Northeastern University.
I like that.
Anybody that has teaches a rap course or rap class, I regularly go and speak to Acrobatic and a friend of mine, Jeffrey Melnick. They have a class at UMass Boston. A history class and it's about hip hop. I guest speak every semester there. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing.
And that's dope, bro. I thought this was dope. I think we definitely should have another one at another time to see how we have both progressed, like later on in life and things of that nature, man. I'm a fan of you, bro. I like what you do. I like your presence in the scene, man. I've been wanting to do this,
man.
I just don't. I didn't know if we lack the credentials to have you on here earlier.
I just like the way
you didn't take us
represent,
seriously
man.
enough.
I was just so fucking busy doing whatever it was to build my name up, because again, I was trying to do as much as I could before I showed up anywhere.
Yeah.
Because Combat Jack, rest in peace, big friend of mine, always wanted me on the show, and I always put it off, because I was like, I haven't done enough. And that man passed away.
In the midst of that.
And I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the other part where it's just like, you always think you have to do more. But I felt like I'm at a space right now and a time right now where it's like, show up.
I like that, man. But thank you, man.
I salute
wholeheartedly.
you, man.
Thank you for being here, man. Thank you for what you do for the culture. And yeah, man, you know, we giving you your flowers, bro. You doing your shit, man. Everybody, I want to bridge that gap with the guys who are looking up to us. And, you know, we looking up to you for everybody to understand what the fuck is going on, man. And we kind of mesh that together. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So thank you again, man. This was fun. This was CWTFB Radio,
Yeah.
man. I'm Charlie Machine.
You know what it is.
This is
your
my
boy,
right here, man.
Edge.
Cash no motherfucking sense, man.
Favorite drunk uncle.
Episode, what was it? 208? 208, right?
Yeah, 208.
We love y'all, man. We in the garage, man. Until next time. We
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah.